Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. There's been a long line, an exodus, if you will, of leaders from the Congress party towards the BJP. And it's been going on for a number of years now. If you go back 4-5 years ago, the likes of Jyotiraditya Scindia, RPN Singh, Jitin Prasada, and now more recently in the last few days, you've had Vijinder Singh, Sanjay Nirupam, and even a Gaurav Vallabh who's jumped ship from the Congress to the BJP. Now, the Congress party's familiar argument against this is that the BJP is using agencies like the CBI, IT, ED, etc. to scare many of their candidates and many of their leaders into joining the BJP. And while to some extent that might be true, certainly the leaders who have joined in the recent past, just in the last few days or so, whether it's a boxer Vijinder Singh, whether it's a Sanjay Nirupam, or even for that matter Gaurav Vallabh, none of these leaders have any CBI, IT, ED cases against them. So that argument of using these agencies to try and drive the exodus of leaders from opposition to BJP has a limited shelf life or a limited sale value. But having said that, the question also remains, is ideology now dead and irrelevant in politics? Because yesterday's Congress seems to be today's BJP. That is the contention from the opposition parties. The BJP was the party with the difference. Is there any more difference between the BJP and the rest of the field? And the BJP's argument is, ultimately, if the Congress is a sinking ship, and if leaders one by one are deserting a sinking ship, then can you blame them or their political ambitions? But first, let's bring you up to speed with the story that has happened today.
There was an invitation to attend the Pran Pratishtha of Prabhu Shri Ram. Congress party is writing that we will not attend. ईश्वर के दर्शन करने के लिए ईश्वर की अनुमति जरूरी होती है और जब तक ईश्वर की अनुमति नहीं होती वो दर्शन नहीं कर सकता.
This election is Congress versus old Congress, not Congress versus BJP.
Basically, the way Congress party is working in Delhi and from Delhi to Mumbai, it is not working out very well actually.
तो पार्टी हॉपर है, एक पार्टी से दूसरे पार्टी आने वाला. अगर टिकट नहीं मिला तो ऐसा स्टेटमेंट देने से कोई फायदा नहीं है.
कांग्रेस पार्टी नहीं, एक पारिवारिक कंपनी है. इसमें देश हित नहीं, इसमें समाज हित नहीं, केवल अपने परिवार का हित देखा जाता है.
आज बीजेपी में शामिल हो रहा हूँ और एक तरह से कहते घर वापसी हो रही है मेरी. कहते कि इंग्लिश में कहावत है, गुड टू बी बैक.
All right, so is it a fight for political survival or is it a dumping of political ideologies, as it were? The exodus continues right ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. The recent departures from the Congress camp are those who are not facing any legal case. There's no IT, ED, CBI, etc. against any of these individuals, which brings to focus the changes that they have made against the party high command. Those leaving the party say that there are very few opportunities at the top, but the Congress has called them overambitious and restless. Also, those leaving say that the issues that they are raising are regressive and do not resonate. In fact, the Congress party's oft-repeated accusation against the leadership is they're raising issues which do not matter to the people, to the electorate. The Congress counters that by saying it's a battle of ideologies with the BJP. Those leaving say that the Congress is taking the wrong stand on many issues, particularly on issues of religion, on Hinduism, on attending the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha. Gaurav Vallabh, for example, cited the Sanatan storm for his exit, saying you can't expect spokespersons to be giving day in and day out anti-Sanatan sound bites. The Congress has countered this by saying that their fight continues against the forces of hatred and for the cause of secularism. Those leaving the party say the party has become rudderless, it suffers from weak leadership. They often cite the Gandhi family and its poor leadership as reasons for why they are leaving. The Congress's counter is that the weak jump ship when things become hard. Which also brings to focus the organizational issues within the Congress party, which has made several leaders nervous before the 2024 elections. And it seems like Mallikarjun Kharge's role, it remains limited to that of Congress party chief. The Congress continues to rally behind the Gandhis. The Gandhis are the principal and star campaigners as well as key decision makers in the Congress party. The Congress party's political footprint continues to shrink. It's got presence now only in a few states, largely limited to southern India. In northern India, they're an also-ran player. There's been no serious course correction despite repeated poll debacles. And there was a statistic, out of 50 plus assembly elections that have happened since 2014, the Congress has lost more than 45. The alliance dynamics remain in chaos as state and national leaders are unable to agree on a cohesive narrative. Moreover, controversial statements, whether it is on Hinduism, whether it is on female leaders, all of this is just giving more and more ammunition to the BJP. So the question then is, are many of these leaders leaving, as the Congress alleges, because of IT, CBI, ED pressure? Or are they simply leaving because they don't see any good fortunes in the Congress party? They see the Congress party as a sinking ship, and therefore, for their own political interests and perhaps political survival, they are jumping ship. We'll be joined in a moment here in our studios by Tuhin Sinha, who is the national spokesperson of the BJP. Nalin Mehta is managing editor of Money Control. Aishwarya Mahadev is Congress party spokesperson. Rashid Kidwai is author and senior journalist. Aishwarya Mahadev, you know, I'm willing to accept to some extent the argument that the Congress party says in the case of Ashok Chavan or other leaders that, look, BJP has unleashed the agencies against them. That's why they're scared and they're leaving. But in the last 24 hours, whether it's a Vijender Singh, whether it's a Gaurav Vallabh, whether it's a Sanjay Nirupam, there are no agencies or cases against these individuals. Why then, pray, are they still leaving the Congress party and joining the BJP?
Zaka, two responses to that. Politics today is not altruistic, it is not a philanthropic exercise, and for a lot of people, their aspirations may not be met by what the Congress party is currently offering them. Whether they are aspiring beyond their capability and capacity is not for me to comment. So a lot of people, you know, when they do leave, having been given a lot of opportunity, would like to blame and point fingers because it makes it look better as a perception that they left for some just cause and not because of what their aspirations was. But that may be a few certain cases, but that does not take away from the fact that it is a given reality that there are a lot of leaders who the BJP, including the Prime Minister himself, had spoken about a particular leader in a booklet that came out. And mere days later, the same particular leader went and joined them. The same thing with Himanta Biswa Sarma, the BJP leadership in Assam had accused him of the Louis Burgess scam so seriously, and then he joined them, and then you see that it disappeared. Just because there are people leaving who don't have cases because of their aspirations and the ends that they want met does not at any point take away from the fact that it is a given reality that
I'll ask Tuhin Sinha about these leaders you allege are joining because of coercive pressure from the agencies. But you admittedly said just now, Aishwarya, that in your party you are not able to address the ambitions of certain individuals and that's why they are leaving. Now, if you are not able to address the ambitions of certain individuals in your party, you can't blame the BJP for that, because clearly they're going to the BJP because they feel that the BJP will address their ambitions.
Zaka, at the place that India is today, there is no place for the opposition or political parties on our side of the spectrum to work for their own, or workers there to work for their own individual ambition. There is a responsibility to be workers first and then ask for their gains. They should not ask what the party can do for them at this point, but has to work tirelessly, because the idea of India is a threat. That is what my leadership has conclusively said time and time again. The aspiration for power is natural to any human being, but the aspiration for power cannot trump the responsibility.
I like the way you have spun the famous Kennedy quote about ask what not the country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But be that as it may, let me ask Tuhin Sinha, who is joining us here in our studios. And Tuhin, it's great to have you here, because the number one state where there is this exodus of non-BJP leaders into BJP is the state of Maharashtra, where you come from. The Indian Express had a story recently saying 25 leaders who joined from Congress and NCP and Shiv Sena, other opposition parties into the BJP. Out of 25, 23 of them, the cases have gone to cold storage. A majority of them, large majority of them, happen to be from Maharashtra.
Well, Zaka, congressmen today are not just leaving Congress to join the BJP. They are willing to join any other party, be it Eknath Shinde's party, be it Shiv Sena, be it TMC. They just want to get rid of the present day Congress. And I have said this before, today would say it with greater responsibility and conviction that the condition of present day Congress, the Congress has reduced itself to a fringe. People just want to escape it. And, I get reminded of visuals of Afghanistan when the Taliban took over. People were clinging onto planes to escape. So nobody wants to stay in the present day Congress. And the reason is threefold. Number one, their anti-Sanatan mentality. There are, and I will give you instances of each. Their inability to take a stand on the Pran Pratishtha issue. The fact that Rahul Gandhi pulls up common people on the street and says, "Aapka naam kya hai?" and then tries to, invoke caste divisions among the community. The pro-radicalization mindset. Yesterday, if you recall, in Wayanad, when he was filing his nomination papers, Congress did not even have the moral courage to put its own flag across because IUML apparently insisted on putting their flag, which had some resemblance with Pakistan flag. When Congress said we can't put your flag, the deal was that neither of their flags could go. So this is how they have reduced themselves to being a puppet of IUML in Kerala. And number three, thereby their inability to take a stand in national interest, whether it is on the abrogation of Article 370 or Rahul Gandhi traveling all over the world and lampooning India's democracy. So I think Congress
give me a moment,
to
because I am now joined live by one of the leaders who has recently jumped ship from the Congress to the BJP. Vijinder Singh is former Olympian, former boxer. Vijinder भाई बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. ये बताइए, कल तक तो आप कांग्रेस के साथ थे, कांग्रेस के आइडियोलॉजी के साथ थे, ये माना जाता था कि आप राहुल गांधी के करीबी हैं, लेकिन क्या हुआ 24 घंटे में आपने मतलब पलट दी, आपने कांग्रेस से बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर ली. किसकी वजह से? मतलब क्या आपके पीछे भी आईटी, सीबीआई, ईडी वगैरह पड़े हैं क्या?
नहीं भैया, कहते हमारी कि जीवन तो कहते खुली किताब है, कोई भी आके पढ़ सकता है और मेहनत करके यहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं, मेहनत करना चाहते हैं और मेहनत से कहते कि आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, मेहनत से लोगों का भला करना चाहते हैं, यूथ का भला करना चाहते हैं, जो यंग जनरेशन जो खिलाड़ी है उनका भला करना चाहते हैं. इसलिए हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी में आए. और रही बात इस बात की कि मैंने कांग्रेस क्यों छोड़ी, तो तकरीबन 5 साल मैंने इंतजार किया. मैं सोचा कि मैं कुछ करूंगा पार्टी में रहकर, कहीं बुलाया जाएगा मेरे को, कहीं कोई जहां एक स्पोर्ट्स सेल है या कोई भी यूथ है कांग्रेस से, वहाँ पद मिलेगा. लेकिन 1 साल, 2 साल, 5 साल तो फिर टाइम निकलता जा रहा था. मैं घर पे बैठ के नहीं हो सकती सब चीजें, ये आप जनता के बीच में जाना पड़ेगा, लोगों से मिलना पड़ेगा. मैंने बहुत सारे प्रोटेस्ट भी किए उनको लेकर, लेकिन लास्ट में उन्होंने कहा कि आप मथुरा चले. और फिर हम कहते हैं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ आए. वहाँ हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी हैं जो कि इतने मेहनती हैं, जो इतना अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं यूथ के लिए. तो हम चाहते हैं कि वहाँ उनका कुछ, वहाँ जाके हम कुछ काम करें और यूथ को दिखाएं कि हमारे अंदर कितनी प्रतिभा है.
लेकिन विजेंद्र भाई ये भी बता दीजिए कि मतलब आपने कल बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर ली, परसों तक आप राहुल गांधी और कांग्रेस पार्टी के ट्वीट्स तो आप रीट्वीट कर रहे थे. किसी पत्रकार ने आपसे ये सवाल पूछा तो आपने बोल दिया कि मैंने सो लिया, सोने के बाद उठाया और उठने के बाद मेरा मतलब मन परिवर्तन हो गया. तो उसके बारे में कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आप?
उसके बारे में बस एक ही है कि एक सवाल को बार बार पूछ रहे हैं लोग, क्यों ज्वाइन की. तो भैया फिर वो कहते हैं कि बॉक्सर अंदर वाला निकलने वाला होता है, तो फिर उसको ऐसे वो बोलना पड़ता है कि मैं क्या भाई कर ली ज्वाइन, अब कर ले क्या करेगा. तो फिर ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता है कि आप, मैंने ऑलरेडी बताया कि मैंने क्यों आया हूँ, मैं किस लिए आया हूँ, स्टेज पे सब बातें हुई, लेकिन बार बार को उस चीज को कुरेदना, तो पोक करना उस चीज को. तो भैया हमने भारतीय जनता पार्टी ज्वाइन करी है हिंदुस्तान के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए. तो हम चाहते हैं कि बहुत सारा काम करें यहाँ रहकर और जनता की आवाज बने.
लेकिन जनता को आपको ये भी विश्लेषण देना पड़ेगा कि आपने तो नरेंद्र मोदी और उनके सरकार के खिलाफ काफी सारे बातें आपने पुराने वक्त में आपने दिया है, चाहे वो रेसलर्स के मामले में हो, चाहे वो किसान के प्रोटेस्ट के बारे में हो. तो क्या वो सब भूल जाएं हम लोग?
नहीं, मैंने उसके ऊपर सबकी सफाई दे दी थी कि मैंने क्यों, कब, कैसे, क्या किया था, और मैं खिलाड़ी होने के नाते मैं उनके साथ पहले भी था, अब भी हूँ, आगे भी रहूंगा। और किसानों का हमने साथ दिया था, किसानों के साथ भी कहते जो उनकी मांगे थी उन्होंने रखी, और फिर हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहते वापस ले ली। तो जीत तो फिर किसानों की हुई और हमारी सरकार की हुई, तो उनकी बात सुनी गई वहां पे। तो हमारा कहते सपोर्ट उनके साथ पहले भी था, अब भी है, आगे भी रहेगा।
और ये फाइनली ये जो रेसलर्स के मामले में मान लीजिए अगर ये ब्रिजभूषण को टिकट दे देते हैं आपकी पार्टी, तो आप उनके साथ फिर भी खड़े होंगे?
देखिए भैया, मैं खिलाड़ी पहले हूं और गलत को गलत कहता हूं, मैंने कहा था, और सही को सही कहूंगा। तो ऐसी नौबत आएगी नहीं, मैं जो मानता हूं कि
अच्छा।
खिलाड़ियों के साथ अभी दोबारा अत्याचार नहीं होगा ऐसा कभी।
क्या पार्टी ने आपको कुछ आश्वासन दी है कि आपको कहीं से टिकट देंगे?
जी, पार्टी में चले गए हैं तो कहते कि उम्मीद छोड़ दीजिए कि पार्टी क्या देगी, आप पार्टी को क्या दे रहे हैं, ये अहम है।
लेकिन आपको कोई मतलब आश्वासन नहीं दिए, कोई प्रॉमिस नहीं दिया गया अभी तक कि आपको हरियाणा से या कहीं और से लड़ाएंगे?
मैंने कोई नहीं पूछा। मैंने कहा कि जी मैं काम करना चाहता हूं और यही मेरा कहते उद्देश्य है, और मैं चाहूंगा कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचूं और काम करूं। दैट्स इट।
ऐसा कौन सा काम है जो आप बीजेपी में कर सकते हैं जो आप कांग्रेस पार्टी में नहीं कर पाए?
जी, उनकी रीच बहुत बड़ी है और जो लोग पसंद कर रहे हैं 10 साल से, और तकरीबन और हम जो कहते जो हमारे काम रह गए, जैसे यूथ का जैसे प्रोटेस्ट हुआ था, रेसलर प्रोटेस्ट, तो ये नहीं होता अगर हम होते तो उस चीज में।
तो फाइनली आपसे मैं पूछना चाहूंगा विजेंद्र भाई, ये एक के ऊपर एक कांग्रेस के नेता जो हैं वो छोड़कर क्यों चले जा रहे हैं? आप हो, गौरव वल्लभ हो, अभी हाल ही में बाकी सारे जो नेता छोड़ के चले जा रहे हैं, क्यों चले जा रहे हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी से?
भैया, हमने तो शुरुआत कर दी थी और उसके बाद तो लाइन लग गई, अभी हर कोई ना कोई आ रहा है, देख लीजिए।
तो आपने लाइन की शुरुआत की, उसके बाद बाकी सारे
तो
आपके पीछे पड़ गए।
अमिताभ बच्चन का डायलॉग है ना, लाइन वहीं से शुरू होती है जहाँ हम खड़े हो जाते हैं, तो भैया उसके बाद तो लाइन लग गई हमारी।
जी,
तो बट कुछ बदलाव के लिए और कुछ तरक्की के लिए, कहते हैं हिंदुस्तान की तरक्की के लिए लोग आ रहे हैं, वो चाहते हैं कि उनकी आवाज सुने, बिकॉज मेहनती लोगों की पार्टी है ये, जो संघर्ष करके यहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं, और तो वो एक बंदे का परिश्रम जानते हैं।
ओके, विजेंद्र सिंह, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। वी विल बी इन टच विद यू। थैंक यू वेरी मच। Let me now go across to our experts. Nalin Mehta is also joining us, and so is Rashid Kidwai. And you heard Vijender Singh. Look, I like I said at the top of the show, Nalin, I am willing to meet this argument halfway down that yes, many of these leaders are leaving and joining BJP because of pressure of IT, CBI, ED. Ashok Chavan is a classic case. Rahul Gandhi even in fact publicly said that Ashok Chavan met him and cried and said, I don't want to go to jail and that's why I'm joining the BJP. But what about Vijender Singh? What about Sanjay Nirupam? What about Gaurav Vallabh? There's no known cases against these individuals and yet they're leaving. So there's got to be some reason for it. Part of it could be that everybody feels Congress is a sinking ship. Nobody wants to be part of a sinking ship. Or B, that simply in a party that's been out of power, there is no room to accommodate the personal ambitions of all of these individuals.
I think there are 3 or 4 reasons, Zaka, and you're spot on. The first part of the answer lies in what Vijender said in the interview to you just now, where he said कि BJP की reach बहुत ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे हम ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं. So I mean, essentially, if they were not political parties but they were companies, one is looks like a sunset company and the other one looks like a sunrise company which is rising. So there is, if you're an ambitious politician looking to grow, where will you find more growth? I think that's the first question. If you're ambitious. The second one is that organizationally the Congress, and this alludes to what you were saying, that because the Congress is shrinking and because it hasn't got its organizational house in order, is not being able to keep its talent pool inside. It does, the earlier mechanisms of people don't just join politics for ideology. People join for multiple reasons, including for bonds of various kinds. And I think the Congress, simply the attitude in the Congress right now seems to be, look, we want to leave. Many people who have left, there have been very little efforts to keep them back. I think Rashid would know a bit more about that than I would. But essentially, it's become the core of the party has become very, very ideological and doesn't have as much realpolitik as the BJP has at the moment. So there are multiple things happening here.
No, you could critique Rashid's line, I think has just gone off, but Rashid would be the best person to answer this. That you could hold on to this high horse saying, ideology and we're waging an ideological battle. But Rashid, at the end of the day, in real politics, you need to be able to address people's real world ambitions. So if politicians can't be given, tickets or chairmanships of various boards or being accommodated in some form or fashion in the organization, then people will leave. And what Nalin said is right. I mean, there used to be a time not so long ago where the Congress would at least make an attempt to stop these people. Today, I don't even think they're making the attempt. They're like, if you don't believe, if you don't want to be part of our ideology, you jolly well pack up and leave.
Zaka, first of all, elections are a time of, migratory birds. Every 5 years or every cycle of election, we see this, people coming and going. That is not so disturbing. But as Dalit was saying, actually, there is a lack of institutional mechanism. There is no sense of, ownership in, Aishwarya's party at this point of time. As long as Ahmed Patel was there, he would hear, people out. He would offer, carrot and stick. He would do some kind of thing. Now there is a lot of jalebi culture. If somebody goes to Mallikarjun Kharge would say, or his staff would say, go and, speak to Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi would say, go and speak to Keshi Venugopal. Keshi Venugopal will say, go to Kharge. So, end of the day, anybody who's an aspirant or a ticket seeker or somebody, has nowhere to go. And of course, the people are on short fuse. These three people we are talking about, Sanjay Nirupam and Vijender Singh and Gaurav Vallabh, they were either newcomers or they were imports. So they, in any case, they lacked, any kind of, firm commitment or ideology. But in the Congress, biggest problem is lack of ownership. There is nobody who's in charge. Rahul Gandhi thinks it is Mallikarjun Kharge's baby. Mallikarjun Kharge thinks Rahul Gandhi represents the political leadership of the Congress.
No, but what about the closest friends of Rahul Gandhi? Milind Deora, Jitin Prasada, Jyotiraditya Scindia are more than just ex-congressmen. They are close friends of Rahul Gandhi. If Rahul Gandhi is not able to hold on to them, then why should anybody be part of the Congress party? And like you said, once again, politics cannot be a puritanical exercise. You believe in certain set of values, you can be in my party. No. I mean, politics, as somebody famously said, is the art of the possible. Yes, rightfully so, you can make the argument against the BJP, or they are using threat and coercion and this and that to get everybody, all and sundry, into their party. But the flip side of that argument is, they are ideologically less flexible. They are saying, winnability is the most important thing. So whoever has the chance to win, we'll bring them into our party. Which is fair enough. That's what politics is all about.
So Zaka, political loyalty is highly transactional. And second point is there has to be, in the leadership terms, there has to be fear and respect. In the present day Congress, there is absence of both. There is no fear and there is very little respect. And that is the difference. Look at that BJP people, MPs who have been benched, MPs who had won, over 3 lakh, 5 lakh, margin, they have been benched. What are they doing? They are going to Facebook and saying that we don't want to contest. I can give you a lot of examples. So that is also abnormal. But it is abnormal because the BJP leadership today represents fear and respect.
Okay.
In the Congress, there is the absence of these two things.
Aishwarya Mahadev, there is absence of fear and absence of leadership in your party. That's why people are leaving. I just had an extensive conversation with Vijender Singh. Again, like I said, he has no cases against him. There's no threat of any agency against him. But he still decided to leave your party and go. Why? Because clearly he seems to have hit some kind of a ceiling in your party. He doesn't seem to be able to grow in your party.
Zaka, I'm a Kannadiga, so in my limited understanding of Hindi, I think he said pad, as in a position or a place, that what he wanted there. And in the converse, he said when he joined the BJP that he doesn't expect anything out of it. So I'm not going to see, again, we wish everybody all the very best. It's not like nobody tried to retain him, whether it was campaigning, whether it was on the ground when he joined, whether it was his ticket. There was a lot of support forthcoming. But yes, he also conceded that there is a reach that the current dispensation has that the opposition parties don't have. We wish him all the very best. On the second, when you say close friends and whatnot, people who enjoyed power as ministers for the entire term of the UPA could not seem to, ride out the rough storm when we were out of power. And again, we wish them all the very best. And on the last part, I think it is absolutely shameful for anybody at any point to say that there is no respect and no authority in the Congress party. The fact that there is a certain portrayal that comes out in mainstream media does not change the fact that Mallikarjun Kharge Saab is one of the tallest leaders, very well respected, has accommodated workers across. Even if you look at ticket distribution all across, you see the amount of work that has happened. And Mr. Rahul Gandhi also concedes that the authority of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, and in terms of elections, the CEC is important. See, there are a lot of pictures that can be painted for the convenience of people that have a certain amount of power to control the narrative, right? Where in the opposition, we do not have that. But to at any point say Mallikarjun Kharge Saab is not in control is extremely, extremely disrespectful to a man of that stature. And for somebody as young as me, I have access to the Congress president, whether through letter or even to meet. And I know local workers across the country.
Rashid, quick response, and then I'll come back to Tuheen here in the studio.
Yeah, leader for all of the.
Rashid, quick response. Yeah.
And as per their difficulty, she is doing a very difficult job, a good job of a party spokesperson. But everybody knows this whole. Everybody who leaves has a a thing or two to say about KC Venugopal. KC Venugopal is fighting his own parliamentary election. There is nobody in Delhi. A lot of ticket seekers come, and this was happening all along. But as I gave example of Mr. Ahmed Patel, as long as he was there, he acted as a cushion, and people had respect, and people, of course,
okay. All right, that's a different debate. But let me come to Tuheen again. Tuheen, the point that at one point of time the BJP used to be the party with a difference, right? Today there doesn't seem to be any difference. The very people that you railed and ranted against for corruption, from Ajit Pawar to Praful Patel to Pratap Sarnaik, are all now part of your party. So what makes your party so different? You are what Congress used to be in the 90s, today BJP is.
Zaka, we have still been very selective, because if we open up our doors, 90% of the Congress party would be this side. So we have still been very selective. But yes, these are going to be watershed elections. Many path-breaking things are going to happen post that, for which we need a big and a huge majority. In any case...
No, but why? I'm trying to understand. People are also asking this. 272 is what you need to win. Why do you need 400? What are you going to do with 400?
Well, a two-third majority always helps. If you notice it, we have already, started the campaign for 2029 by getting inroads in states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala. There would be a huge room for expansion over there in 2029. So that's how BJP works. It works with a 10-year future, with a 10-year vision in mind. And it is relentless.
I'm really, a lot of people have been asking me this over the last few weeks. And since, the Prime Minister on the floor of the Parliament said this, BJP target is 370 and NDA target is 400. Why do they need so many numbers?
Well,
they just need 272 to win, right?
We believe
what are they planning for the third term that they need 370 and 400, Nalin?
Well, we believe in the one...
Okay, let him
sure.
Yeah. Nalin, that question is to you, Nalin. Nalin, if you can hear me, I was asking Tuheen here as well, and I'm asking you this.
Zaka, I can hear you now. Yeah, sorry, the audio went for a bit. Could you repeat the question?
A lot of common people are asking, the target for any election should be 272. That's the simple majority, right? Why is the BJP hell-bent on getting 370 or 400 or 350 or whatever it is? Why do they need those so many seats for? What is it that they're planning in their third term that they need such high numbers?
So I think, look. I think the idea of 400 ab ki baar 400 par or the target of 370, a lot of that is also psyops, right? It's about creating a hawa. It's about creating a momentum before the election, saying that look, there is a BJP blitzkrieg coming, and others are not up to it. Now, where will those seats come from? We've had debates on this channel, on your program many times, Zaka, on where the headroom for growth of BJP is. But it is a legitimate question that what can the BJP do with 370 seats conceivably that it can't do with 303 seats. But that beside the point. I think this is all part of the posturing before the election. It's also about rejuvenating the cadre. It's also about getting the cadres up and about and getting them excited towards the target in an election that does not otherwise seem to be a contest.
No, before I come back to Tuheen, Rashid, I think there is something that we're all missing here, because clearly they have something in mind. The Prime Minister went to Odisha, was trying for this alliance with the BJD. It didn't happen, of course. That's a different matter altogether. alliances in Andhra Pradesh. They were again trying very hard for AIDMK. That did not happen. There seems to be some thinking about why the BJP needs two-thirds majority in the next term.
I think, Zaka, everyone knows that answer, but nobody wants to spell it out so directly. Let me attempt it. It has to do with kind of why do you need two-thirds or three-fourths of majority in parliament? Obviously, to make basic structural sweeping changes in Indian constitution. That's the long and short of it.
Is it, Tuhin?
Well, Zaka, for the first time, a Prime Minister has given a vision for the next 20-25 years. And in this journey of the next 20-25, each of the succeeding 5-year becomes very important. So a robust government, a government which can take strong decisions becomes very important. 10 years ago, people of this country, people of Bharat used to vote for change when they wanted improvement. Now they want to vote for continuity because they are convinced that this is the government the country needed always.
So when Aishwarya Mahadev's party, very, very sorry about that. Aishwarya Mahadev's party says, there's democratic backsliding, democracy is in danger. People don't seem to be thinking so, Aishwarya. People seem to be giving 303, 350, 370, what have you. That's not democracy in danger.
A few responses. I think they want that number to overcome the last unprecedented number that we saw from the Congress because they would like to cement the so-called legacy. On the second hand, the BJP does enough. Even without the numbers, they suspend enough MPs to get by on things. But lastly, when Tuhin says, look for the 20-30 years in the future, if you look at the Prime Minister's recent speeches, I have seen mentions of former Prime Ministers for decades before I was even born as the priority that he talks about and absolutely nothing else. When you talk about vision for the future, when you talk about economic development or infrastructure, which they say is part of their Vikas, Achhe Din, Amrit Kal, the other Kal that I see going around, they still go down to the south and talk about consecration. They talk about symbolic staffs in parliament. They talk about what happened between a particular country there. They talk about the cultural hegemony that needs to exist. So tell me, where is the vision? The Prime Minister's entire election campaign, including his entire ministry, is run on division, on putting down the opposition, and absolutely no positive future agenda. If you have so much development, make your government or your election plan development. Don't come and lie. Don't talk about incendiary statements of what the opposition has done. Get Tuhin to talk
the
about
BJP's singular slogan has been Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas.
Where is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas when you see a systematic cutting down of SC/ST subplan, when you see a systematic cutting down of education in the backward sector, even in the healthcare sector? I can give you statistics to the fact that this government today will put out fertilizer and rice bags with the Prime Minister's face. But when my state needed it for the poorest of the poor, they refused to give it and tried to sell it at a throwaway price to basically for molasses and ethanol to be produced. So where
the Congress...
Let Tuhin respond.
There is no Sabka.
Got it, Aishwarya. Let Tuhin respond.
The Congress party is understandably very selective in its assimilation of important issues. So, let me remind the Congress spokesperson over here, these are what we are fighting these elections on. Infrastructure, 70% increase in national highways, stretch of national highways in the last 10 years. From 74 airports in 2014, we have 148 airports now, 700 kilometers of new metro lines, and in fact Bangalore, the city where you are right now, is one of the biggest beneficiary of this transformation. 13 crore tap water connection, 50 crore Jan Dhan accounts, of which 60% are women. These are the issues on which we are fighting the elections. But yes, if you have committed blunders in the past that need to be highlighted, because that particular island, Kachativu, holds huge significance for India. Thousands of Indian fishermen have suffered because of that, and that the truth of how it was given away by Congress party needs to be told to the
very
people.
Quickly, 30 seconds, Aishwarya, I have to wrap up. 30 seconds, no more, please.
This is the sort of selective narrative they talk about. Why the highways are double is because they started double counting the lanes, where every lane counts as 1 kilometer instead of the 4 lanes. You talk about the metro and my Karnataka state being a beneficiary 10 days after Prime Minister Modi inaugurated it. You saw it flooded and you saw people getting harmed. You talk about Jan Dhan accounts. You want to talk about how many vacancies or how many empty bank accounts are there, and you're still charging poor farmers for not maintaining balance, even though your government has not given them the Kisan Sannidhi or whatever that scheme is. There is a lot of selective lies and post-truth of the BJP. People are finding out, which
I have to leave it at that. I want to thank all our guests. Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you, Tuhin, for making this extra effort to come to our studios. Rashid and Nalin, of course, for joining us.